If you've been in the Versus community for a good amount of time, you'd know that Gurren Lagann often makes its way into discussions when it comes to excessively powerful characters. After all, there are few, if any, series that reach the same scale as Gurren Lagann does. Beyond the stars, beyond the galaxy, to a universal level, and even beyond that. This Gurren Lagann month, I've been assessing the abilities of some of Team Dai-Gurren's members, and they've all been very strong, incredibly impressive. Some of the numbers and feats we've discussed have been absolutely insane. Well, you haven't seen anything yet. Next is the man himself, the one whose drill creates the heavens, the leader of Team Dai-Gurren, Simon the Digger. There's a lot to talk about, as he is the main character. This is the man who saved the world twice. So, how strong is Simon? Fight the power! Simon starts out just a simple boy, digging tunnels day after day to expand Jiha village and occasionally find treasure. When he discovers a core drill and a small mecha, he and his bro Kamina are thrust into an epic adventure that leads them to the surface, and eventually beyond the stars. We'll start off with his and Gurren Lagann's feats in the first arc of the show, the Beastman War. And thankfully, we get a lot of consistent feats from Lagann. Just in episode 1, it's able to withstand being chomped by the gunman unit with no signs of damage after it breaks out. And right after, it lifts the gunman up and doesn't drill, but forcefully pushes it at high speeds through solid stone to the surface. Considering it was moving for several seconds, long enough for Kamina to bid adieu to Jiha village, and for the gang to let out a really good war cry, they were very far underground. If a Dai village and Jiha village are the same distance, thanks to this image of pure darkness once the gang falls in during episode 5, it could very well be several miles underground. To crush 1 cubic meter of stone, you need to output around 10 to 20,000 tons of force. Right off the gate in episode 1, Lagann is putting out well over 100 tons of force a second at the bare minimum to forcefully shove an entire mecha through solid stone, outdoing most of the explosions in the entire first arc with a single feat. This is largely due to Simon's spiral power. Because of this, he and Lagann are intrinsically linked together. The stronger Simon is, the stronger Lagann is. They scale with each other. That is why, when Simon is depressed and unstable, Lagann is as well, vomiting energy or simply refusing to act. It reacts to him, appearing in front of Simon when he's in need. More than any other pilot, Simon is one with Lagann. It's pretty safe to absolutely scale the two of them together, which will be pretty important later on. Lagann is incredibly durable as well, withstanding this huge fall without a scratch, being slammed by a gunman without a mark, and going toe-to-toe with Lord Genome himself. And if you remember some of the stuff I discussed in the Keaton episode, well, we'll get to that. The interesting thing about Lagann is that it's capable of empowering any mecha it combines with, using its drill to instill it with enhanced spiral power. This usually comes in the form of the mighty Gurren Lagann. It easily outperforms most every mecha it comes across, whether it be Seirun not budging at the water pressure at the bottom of the ocean, which is 15,000 pounds per square inch, or Enkidu throwing Dai-Gurren by itself, being at least 100,000 tons. Gurren Lagann is reasonably capable of all of that. It is stronger than the Four Generals gunmen, it is stronger than Enkidu, it is stronger than its allies. Pretty much every single feat that the mecha around it are capable of are things that Gurren Lagann can do. It can fly at least Mach 24 or 17,000 miles per hour. And of course, Gurren Lagann is well equipped. It can fire out a multitude of drills from its body to pierce nearby enemies, or create drills from its wrist that can destroy Enki's swords and pierce through enemies, like the gunman with multiple faces. It can produce drill missiles, enough to destroy most of Tito Mandra's forces in episode 14. It possesses an energy shield that completely neutralizes energy-based attacks, even ones as powerful as Enki's charge beam, which I stated in Viral's video should be several tons of TNT. Its trademark sunglasses are capable of much destruction, slicing through enemies like the Sauna gunmen or holding them in place in time for its signature attack, the Giga Drill Break. This attack overpowers and destroys half of the Four Generals gunmen. Considering Gurren Lagann is feeding off of Lagann's power, and this is the base form's strongest technique, then the Giga Drill break must be stronger than Lagann's drill feat from episode 1. Considering the drill more than quadruples in size, and that Lagann's drill feat was worth at least 100 kilotons of force, then the Giga Drill break, at least from the first arc, must be outputting a few megatons of force, which means it's comparable to the huge explosion in the finale of the first movie with just one attack. Considering it is Gurren Lagann that's charging through the combined mecha to destroy it, that does seem pretty fair. Since it runs off spiral power, it can keep going as long as its pilot is able. And spiral power can do a lot. More on that soon, including restoring entire chunks of it, basically acting as a healing ability. Very frequently, Gurren Lagann is able to surpass every challenge it faces in the first arc, only truly being defeated by Lagann. However, Lagann is able to put out more spiral power than Lagann once their drills meet, meaning it is technically stronger. With his core drill, Simon unleashes a blast of spiral power that defeats Lorgenome. The day is saved, and humanity is free. 7 years go by, when eventually Lorgenome's final words come to pass, as 1 million humans spur the wrath of the AntiSpirals. Unfortunately, most of the old mecha from Team Dai-Gurren have been retired, but Gurren Lagann heads back into the fray. And this is where things really start getting crazy. Simon has gotten a lot older, and his spiral power has improved, though at first we only really get to see glimpses of his ability, as he is arrested and incarcerated for several episodes. In episode 19, we finally get a true taste, as Simon unleashes Giga Drill Maximum, covering Gurren Lagann's body with Giga Drills and absorbing the energy fired out from an army of Mugan. Mugan have enough energy inside them to destroy whole sections of Kamina City. The energy beams they fire are redirected, and the resulting explosion, which had the combined power of several Giga Drills and the army of Mugan, is greater than the detonation of the 4 generals' combined gunmen in the first film, dealing several megatons of force at the bare minimum. This severely damages Gurren Lagann, and uses most of Simon's spiral power. It isn't until episode 21 that we see the mecha return, heading off into space and swiftly combining with Arc Gurren to become Arc Gurren Lagann, which was able to punch a Mugan so hard it created a hole in space and sent it soaring to the other end of the universe. Simon and Gurren Lagann continue to escalate in power very quickly, being able to create holes in space to teleport and save Rasu. Once the Death Spiral machine is destroyed by Keaton, Simon is able to absorb its power, basically receiving unlimited spiral power, and create Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann. This mecha, which is half the size of our planet, is immensely powerful. With Super Galaxy Mega Cutter, it can slash through huge armadas of anti-spiral drones with a single attack. It can use multi-dimensional probability alteration and fire shots at every single point of space-time, thus never missing. It can withstand several moons being tossed at it, and use its shoulder drills for its Super Galaxy Giga Drill break, destroying the huge planetary-sized anti-spiral Ashtenga in one strike. However, both it and Team Dai-Gurren are thrown into the multi-dimensional labyrinth, a place where universes are created as soon as they are perceived, infinitely. A place where sentient beings cannot possibly escape. Simon is sent to an alternate universe and begins to spiral downward, as he and Kamina have turned to a life of crime. Until the true Kamina, the same one he lost many years ago, returns to snap some sense into him. After a tearful reunion where each of us cried, Simon is able to absorb the multi-dimensional labyrinth. Notably, the other 2 characters who are able to break free of their own volition are Yoko and Viral. At this point, all of them get their own core drill and are boosted to be as potent with spiral power as Simon. So, in the first 2 videos, when I said that they could grow even further thanks to spiral power, well, here we are. So I've been saying spiral power a lot here. What exactly is it? Perfect time to explain. Because from this moment on, every feat I've mentioned before is nothing compared to what Simon and Lagann can do in the final battle of the show and the second movie. Spiral power is evolution, the ability for a spiral being with Helix DNA to evolve and grow beyond whatever challenge they are met by. It can bend the very laws of physics and truthfully doesn't have a limit, at least not one with a realistic number. It has an infinite number of possibilities. Whether it's returning from the dead like Kamina does in episode 8, creating matter itself like when Gurren Lagann heals, or manipulating space-time to completely alter probability. It's stated in canon to defy conservation of energy, which explains how Gurren Lagann can combine into increasingly larger versions with no perceived limit. It is what kicks off the events of the show, as the AntiSpirals fear its limitless potential. Breaking free from the multi-dimensional labyrinth, the team creates the ultimate mecha, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. It is light years tall, eclipsing our galaxy and capable of standing on top of other galaxies. It is made completely of spiral power, and as it is piloted by the entire crew, it can draw on assets from each of them, manifesting materials like Yoko's rifle or Enki's swords. It is fast enough to run light years in seconds, and the combined cross-countered punch from it and Grozzenbama, which is the AntiSpirals equivalent of TTGO, created a blast that eclipsed several galaxies. It can withstand being knocked across the AntiSpirals pocket universe into other galaxies. It possesses the abilities of all previous versions of Gurren Lagann, including probability alteration, space-time manipulation, and regeneration. It's equipped with dimensional anchors that can lasso opponents, which it uses to throw Grozzenbama throughout its pocket universe. Although quite possibly its greatest feat is when it withstood the Infinity Big Bang Storm, an attack created by the AntiSpirals that had the same power as the birth of our universe. Lord Genome sacrifices himself to become one with this energy, transforming it into pure spiral power for the team to absorb. In the show, the team creates an opening for Lagann and Simone to finish the job. But in the movie, it gets even crazier. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is ripped apart by the AntiSpirals, but each of the team is able to manifest their own Tengen Toppa mecha, which are all roughly equivalent to Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, as they all do damage against Grozzenbama and can withstand attacks from it. Meaning each pilot is controlling a mecha that scales at the very least to Universal by themselves. But it gets even crazier. Each of these Tengen Toppa mecha all combine to form Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, a mecha that is larger than our observable universe. If it existed in real life, all we'd see in the sky is spiral power. We wouldn't even be able to register what we're looking at. There are 10 different Tengen Toppa mecha that combine together to form this. At the very least, Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann scales to 10 separate universes. And that is at the bare minimum. It likely scales even higher than that, because all the separate Tengen Toppa units can reasonably scale to multiversal, and because Simone is contributing his power, and he is far stronger than the rest of his team. Grozzenbama becomes Super Grozzenbama to match as both clash drills. This clash acts as a black hole for the AntiSpirals pocket dimension, temporarily erasing all existence within it, as the universe cannot match the power. Similar to the show, all of the mechas within clash with Grozzenbama, but Gurren Lagann base form matches Super Grozzenbama, which, reminder, is multiversal. It's sent flying towards the AntiSpirals homeworld as Simone and the AntiSpirals clash in a brawl. The two appear to be equally matched in power at this point, despite Simone being worn down from the fight. So how strong are the AntiSpirals? Notably, they were the most powerful entity in the Gurren Lagann multiverse for a long time. They can freely create attacks equivalent to the Big Bang, can alter space and time, create an entire pocket universe, and have an unlimited power source. They can grow to match whatever size Team Dai-Gurren gets to without any issue, showing that their full power may be even greater. The AntiSpirals motif is to create absolute despair, so they try to defeat their enemies by stooping to their level, like a god assuming mortal form. They're able to create a multi-dimensional labyrinth to trap people in, and are aware of the infinite multiverse because they're fully omniscient, as they possess knowledge of all of the show's events and are always able to counter humanity's plans until the very end. The truth is, they are a race of spiral beings who lock their power away to protect the universe. They feared that spiral power, with its infinite potential, could lead to the destruction of all existence, ending not just our universe, but all of them. So they've guarded the universe to prevent spiral beings from rising up. They eclipse Lord Genome at his peak, when he was far stronger than we see him in the show, and was able to destroy the entire Spiral army by himself. Their physical power exceeds that of entire universes, they can move light years in an instant, and they can travel between universes. That is how strong the AntiSpirals are. But despite all of that, Simon was able to defeat them with his drill. And it wasn't with tricks or tactics. He defeated them with raw power, thus meaning that he ultimately scales higher than a being who treated Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann like just an obstacle, higher than a being that can scale to whatever power they wish to, higher than a being that creates universes like they're nothing. And reminder, in the show, it's Lagann who gets the final blow, meaning Lagann scaled higher than Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, and Simon scales to Lagann. So whether it's the show or the movie, they scale the same. So let's do an overview. Speed, practically incalculable, ridiculously faster than light at the very barest minimum. Strength, greater than Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann and the AntiSpirals, creatures that had more power than the observable universe. Durability, he and Lagann survived the collapsing of the AntiSpirals pocket universe, along with taking multiple hits from the AntiSpirals and still being able to get up. His spiral power gives him access to abilities like probability alteration, reviving the dead, regeneration, space-time alteration, and a lot more. He's tenacious, refusing to give up even when facing powers greater than we can comprehend. Powers that can freely morph to scale greater than our universe. He has a nigh unlimited source of spiral power, due to all of this determination instilled within him by his bro Kamina. Simon is the strongest character in the Gurren Lagann multiverse. From humble beginnings, deep down in a cave, to the savior of the universe, Simon the Digger's story is one of perseverance, of will and determination against all odds. He led humanity to defeat Lord Genome, and freed all spiral beings from the tyranny of the AntiSpirals. And it was always with his trusty drill. He keeps spinning to evolve beyond the person he was before. His drill creates the heavens. His faith and will matches God's and the multiverse. All he needs is to believe. Just believe in yourself. Not in the Simon that I believe in. Not in the Kamina that you believe in. Have faith in the Simon that believes in you.